Sirathix stood before the Council of Elders, her 4 eyes fixed on the ancient beings who controlled her world. The chamber was cold, carved from blue ice that never melted. She had been summoned without explanation, pulled from her work at the embassy on Earth. Ambassador Sirathix, the High Elder spoke, her voice like wind through frozen caves. You have served the Valkyrie people with honor for 12 cycles. Now we ask something greater. Sira bowed her head, her ice-blue skin catching the light. I am yours to command, High Elder. You will marry the human representative, Marcus Thorn. This union will bind Earth and Valkara in alliance. The treaty depends on it. The words hit Sira like a physical blow. Marriage to a human. She had studied them during her time on Earth, short-lived, emotional creatures who age so quickly. They laughed too loud, felt too much, moved through life like fire-consuming paper. I understand, she said, though her heart ached. Among her people, marriage was sacred, a choice made once in a lifetime. But duty came first. It always had. The humans need our technology, the Elder continued. We need their jump routes through the hostile sectors. Without this alliance, both our peoples are vulnerable. The marriage contract is for 5 standard years. After that, you may dissolve it if you wish. 5 years. It felt like a prison sentence. 3 weeks later, Sira met Marcus Thorn for the first time. She expected a typical human, loud, crude, perhaps trying too hard to impress her. Instead, she found him in the embassy library, reading from a data tablet. He looked up when she entered. He was tall for a human, with dark hair touched with silver at the temples. His eyes were gray, calm, and measuring. Lines creased the corners of those eyes, suggesting he smiled often, though he wasn't smiling now. Ambassador Sirathix, he said, standing. To her shock, he spoke in perfect Valkyrie, the words flowing smoothly. I'm honored to meet you. Please, sit. She sat across from him, studying his face. You speak my language. I've studied it for 3 years, Marcus said, switching back to Common Galactic Standard. I find your poetry particularly beautiful. The frost songs of the Second Age, they remind me of old Earth poetry, actually. The same attention to space and silence. Sira felt something shift in her chest. She had prepared herself for a barbarian. This man quoted her people's most sacred literature. Why did you agree to this? She asked bluntly. You must know this marriage is political. A contract, nothing more. Marcus set down his tablet. For a moment, he was quiet, choosing his words. I'm 42 years old, Ambassador. I've lived enough life to know that duty and desire rarely align. I agreed because my people need this alliance, just as you did. His honesty surprised her. No flowery words, no pretense of romance. Just truth. Then we understand each other, Sira said. I believe we do. The ceremony took place 2 weeks later aboard the diplomatic station Nexus 7. Sira wore traditional Valkyrie white, her skin painted with silver frost patterns. Marcus wore the formal uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps, dark blue with subtle decorations she didn't understand. The hall was filled with dignitaries from both worlds. Cameras recorded every moment for broadcast across the Concordat. Sira spoke the ancient vows of her people. Marcus responded with the human equivalent, his voice steady and clear. When it ended, they were legally bound. Husband and wife. Partners in diplomacy. The reception felt endless. Valkyrie nobles whispered behind their hands, scandalized that she had married so far beneath her station. Human diplomats clapped Marcus on the shoulder, making jokes she didn't understand. Through it all, Marcus remained calm, professional, saying the right things to the right people. She noticed how he worked the room. He spoke trade agreements with the Valkyrie merchants, discussed security concerns with the military representatives. and even charmed the notoriously difficult Kryn ambassador with careful words. For someone labeled a cultural liaison, he moved through political waters like a predator fish. Finally, the reception ended. They were shown to their new shared quarters, a large suite that blended human and Valkyrie design. 2 bedrooms, 1 common area, a workspace. Sierra stood in the center of the living space, suddenly aware of how strange this was. She was married, bound to this human for 5 years. Marcus removed his formal jacket, moving to one of the bedrooms. "I'll take this one, if that's acceptable. It's smaller, but I don't need much space." "That's fine," Sierra said quietly. He paused at the doorway, turning back to her. The formality of the ceremony had faded, and she saw tiredness in his face. "Ambassador Serathix, I want you to know something. I understand this marriage is a duty for you. I won't impose on you beyond what the contract requires. Public appearances, official functions, I'll be there. But in private, you're free. I'll stay out of your way." Something about his words made her chest tighten. He was giving her space, respecting her, treating her like a partner rather than a possession. It was more than she had expected. "You may call me Sarah," she said. "If we must be married, we need not be so formal in private." A small smile touched his lips. "Then you should call me Marcus." Marcus. She tested the name. It felt strange on her tongue, but not unpleasant. He nodded and retreated into his bedroom. The door closed quietly behind him. Sarah stood alone in the common room, looking at the blended furniture, the mixed artwork on the wall, symbols of 2 worlds forced together. She touched her marriage band, a simple silver circle that felt heavy on her finger. 5 years. She could survive 5 years. But as she prepared for bed in her own room, she found herself thinking about the human in the next chamber. He wasn't what she expected. He was educated, respectful, careful with his words. Yet something about him felt hidden, like an iceberg showing only its smallest part above water. She would be watching him carefully, not just as a wife, but as a diplomat. Because Earth didn't send random people to critical positions. They had chosen Marcus Thorne for a reason. Sierra intended to discover what that reason was, but tonight she was simply tired. She lay down on the Valkyrie-style sleeping platform, adjusted the temperature to the cold she preferred, and closed all 4 eyes. Tomorrow, their real work would begin. Tomorrow, they would start building whatever this strange arrangement would become. For now, she let herself rest, listening to the quiet sounds of the station around her, and the even quieter sounds of Marcus moving in the room beyond. Her husband, the human she barely knew, the man she would be bound to for 5 long years. 3 months had passed since the wedding. Sierra had fallen into a routine with Marcus that was surprisingly comfortable. They shared breakfast most mornings, discussing the day's diplomatic schedule. They attended functions together, presenting a united front. In private, they maintained polite distance, but Sierra was beginning to notice things that didn't fit. She first noticed during their morning routines. Marcus woke before dawn every day. She heard him moving in his room, then in the common area. One morning, curiosity pulled her from bed earlier than usual. She found him in the center of the living space, moving through what humans called exercises. But these weren't the simple stretches she'd seen other humans do. Marcus moved like water, flowing from one position to another with perfect control. His breathing was measured, precise. Every movement had purpose. "Old habit," he said when he noticed her watching. He wasn't even breathing hard. "Helps me think." "You move like a warrior," Sierra observed. Marcus paused, grabbing a towel. "I move like someone who sat at a desk too long and needed to stay healthy. Trust me, Ambassador, warriors move differently." But his explanation felt hollow. She let it pass. The second incident came during a trade negotiation with the Dex merchants. The meeting had turned hostile when the Dex delegation accused Earth of bad faith. Voices rose. The Dex leader, a massive being with 4 arms, slammed his fists on the table. Marcus never flinched. While other humans in the room tensed or stepped back, Marcus remained perfectly still, watching. Sierra saw his eyes track the Dex leader's movements, measure distances, calculate angles. It lasted only seconds, but she recognized tactical assessment when she saw it. Marcus spoke then, his voice calm and controlled, offering a compromise that satisfied both sides. The crisis passed, but Sierra remembered that moment of perfect stillness, the predator's awareness. "You handled that well," she told him afterward. "Angry people are predictable," Marcus replied. "You just need to know what they want and give them a path to get it without losing face." "Is that what they taught you in cultural liaison training?" Something flickered in his eyes. "Among other things. The nightmares started in the 2nd month, but Sierra only noticed them in the 3rd. She woke one night to sounds from Marcus's room, a shout, quickly muffled. Then silence. She listened, uncertain whether to check on him. After a few minutes, she heard him moving around. The sound of water running had happened 3 more times that week. "Are you sleeping well?" she asked over breakfast, carefully casual. "Well enough," Marcus said, not meeting her eyes. "The station's air circulation system is loud sometimes. Wakes me up." A lie. A polite one, but a lie nonetheless. The mission to the border worlds came in their 4th month of marriage. The Concordat needed representatives to visit the outer settlements, showing unity and gathering reports on security concerns. Sierra and Marcus were assigned together. Their ship was small, just them and a minimal crew. During the 3-day journey, Sierra decided to learn more about her husband. "Tell me about Earth," she said one evening as they shared a meal in the ship's tiny dining area. "What would you like to know?" "About you. Your life before this assignment." "You know much about Velkara, about my culture." "I know very little about yours." Marcus was quiet for a moment, considering. "I grew up in a city called Boston. My parents were teachers. I have one sister. She's a doctor now. I joined Earth's government service when I was 23. I've served in various capacities since then." "Various capacities," Sierra repeated. "That's vague." "Diplomacy requires many skills," Marcus said with a slight smile. "I've worked in different roles over the years." "Were you always a cultural liaison?" "No, I did other work first. Security consultation, mostly. But I found I preferred working with people rather than against them." Security consultation. Another vague term. Sierra made a mental note. During their stops at the border settlements, Sierra watched Marcus work. He spoke with colonists, listened to their concerns, and remembered every name. He assessed defensive positions with what seemed like casual interest. But Sarah saw how thoroughly he examined sensor arrays, shield generators, and defensive choke points at the 3rd settlement. They attended a dinner with local officials. The room was crowded with representatives from 6 different species. Political tensions ran high this close to hostile territory. A dispute broke out between the Kryn military observer and the Zephyli trade representative. Old grudges, ancient wars. The argument escalated quickly. Others joined in, taking sides. Marcus watched for 30 seconds, then stood. He didn't raise his voice, but somehow everyone heard him. "Gentlemen, ladies, honored representatives. We didn't come to the border to refight old wars. We came to prevent new ones." He spoke for 3 minutes, weaving together history, current needs, and future possibilities. He acknowledged old wounds while pointing toward common interests. By the time he finished, the tension had broken. The Kryn and Zephyli representatives weren't friends, but they weren't shouting anymore. Sierra's colleague, Ambassador Threnix, found her afterward. He was an old Valkyrie, wise and cautious. "Your husband is impressive," Threenix said quietly. "He is skilled," Sierra agreed. "Earth only sends soldiers to the border worlds," Threenix continued. "Even their diplomats out here have military backgrounds. It's too dangerous otherwise. So why did they send a cultural liaison?" The question lodged in Sarah's mind like a thorn. That night, she couldn't sleep. She sat in her cabin, accessing the ship's data systems. She told herself she was just curious, just doing her due diligence as a diplomat. But really, she needed to know. Marcus Thorne's official file was surprisingly thin. Cultural liaison, education in history and languages, various postings. But there were gaps. 3 years unaccounted for. Commendations listed, but details redacted. Security clearances far higher than a liaison typically needed. She dug deeper, using access codes she probably shouldn't have. She found a partial military record. Captain Marcus Thorne, Earth Defense Force, Special Operations. Multiple deployments. Then the file cut off abruptly, sealed under classification levels she couldn't breach. Her hands were shaking. She closed the files. Marcus found her in the common area an hour later, staring out the viewport at the stars. "Couldn't sleep?" he asked. "No," Sierra said. She turned to face him. "Marcus, I need to ask you something directly. All right. Who were you before you became a cultural liaison?" He was very still. She recognized that stillness now, the predator going quiet, assessing threat. "What did you find?" he asked softly. "Enough to know you're not what you claim to be. Gaps in your record. Military service. Classified operations." She stepped closer. "Earth sent you to marry me for a reason beyond cultural exchange. What was it?" Marcus looked at her for a long moment. Then he sighed, some of the tension leaving his shoulders. "I was what Earth needed me to be," he said finally. "A soldier when they needed soldiers. A weapon when they needed weapons. And now, I'm what we need me to be, someone who can build bridges instead of burning them. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I can give you. Sierra, my past is classified for reasons beyond my control. What matters is what I am now. Right here. I'm your husband in the eyes of the law. I'm your partner in this work. And I'm someone trying very hard to be better than what I was." The raw honesty in his voice caught her off guard. This wasn't deflection. This was truth, as much as he could give. "The nightmares," she said quietly. "What you did, it still haunts you." "Every night," Marcus admitted. "But I manage." They stood in the dim light of the ship, two people bound by politics, separated by secrets, and somehow drawing closer despite it all. "I won't ask again," Sierra said finally. "But Marcus, if your past becomes my present, I need to know. If it does, you'll be the first person I tell." She believed him. That was what surprised her most. Despite the lies and the secrets, she believed this one truth. The days that followed were different. They talked more, carefully avoiding the classified parts of his history, but exploring everything else. He told her about Earth's oceans, about music, about the sister who saved lives in hospitals. She told him about Velkara's ice palaces, about Frost singing, about the philosophy of stillness. Slowly, carefully. They were becoming something more than a political arrangement. But in the back of Sarah's mind, one thought remained. Whatever Marcus had been, whatever he had done, it was deadly enough to require classification. And somewhere, sometime, that past would catch up to them both. She just hoped she'd be ready when it did. The summit on Nexus 7 was the largest diplomatic gathering in Concordat history. Over 200 dignitaries from 47 species filled the massive station. The goal was ambitious. Negotiate mining rights in the contested Outer Reach territories, establish trade corridors, and strengthen the fragile peace that held the galaxy together. Sarah stood in the Grand Hall, wearing formal Valkyrie robes. Beside her, Marcus wore his diplomatic uniform. They had been married for 5 months now. To the outside world, they appeared as the perfect diplomatic couple. In private, they had become something unexpected friends. "The Kryn delegation looks aggressive today," Marcus murmured, his eyes scanning the crowd. Sira followed his gaze. The Kryn were an insectoid species, powerful and warlike. Their delegation stood apart from the others. 6 warriors in ceremonial armor that doubled as functional combat gear. "They're always aggressive," Sira replied. "It's their nature. Maybe, but something feels wrong." Sira had learned to trust Marcus's instincts. Over the past months, she'd watched him navigate political dangers with uncanny precision. He read people like she read data files, seeing patterns others missed. The first day of negotiations went smoothly. Speeches were made, proposals presented. The Kryn demanded exclusive mining rights to 3 resource-rich systems. Other species objected. Voices rose, but it was normal diplomatic tension. Marcus advised Sira during the breaks. "Don't give ground on the mineral rights, but offer them priority on trade routes. They need the economic access more than they're admitting." "How do you know?" "Their home systems are running out of fuel sources. They're desperate, which makes them dangerous." His analysis proved correct. When Sira made the suggestion in the afternoon session, the Kryn ambassador paused, considering. Progress was made. That evening, Marcus was tense during dinner. "What's wrong?" Sira asked. "Station security is too light for an event this size." And the Kryn brought military advisors, not just diplomats. They always bring warriors. It's their tradition. "These aren't honor guards, Sira. I recognize tactical positioning when I see it." Before she could respond, alarms shrieked through the station. The lights flickered. Emergency systems activated. Then the first explosion rocked the Grand Hall. Chaos erupted instantly. Diplomats screamed and scattered. Sira saw a section of the wall blow inward, and Kryn shock troops poured through the breach. They wore full combat armor now, wielding plasma weapons. "It's an attack!" Someone shouted. "The Kryn are attacking." Marcus moved before Sira could process what was happening. His hand locked around her wrist, pulling her down behind an overturned table as plasma fire filled the air. "Stay low," he commanded. His voice had changed, hard, cold, nothing like the gentle diplomat she knew. "When I move, you follow exactly. Understand?" "Marcus, what? Do you understand?" His gray eyes were ice. "Yes." Station security tried to respond, but they were overwhelmed. The Kryn had planned this perfectly. More explosions rocked other sections. Sira heard screaming from the corridors beyond. Marcus pulled her toward a side exit, moving fast but controlled. 3 other diplomats followed them, a Zephyli trade minister, a human economist, and a young Vex cultural attach. They reached a service corridor, and Marcus slammed his hand on the door control. Nothing. The system was locked down. "They've cut station control," Marcus said. He looked around, his mind clearly racing. "We need to reach the diplomatic quarters. The walls are reinforced there. We can hold until help arrives." "How do you know that?" the Zephyli minister asked, terrified. Marcus didn't answer. He grabbed a maintenance panel and ripped it open with strength that surprised Sira. Inside were conduits and wiring. Marcus worked quickly, bypassing the lock. The door slid open. They ran through maintenance passages, Marcus leading. Behind them, Sira heard more explosions, more screaming. The Kryn were systematically destroying the summit, killing delegates. Why? She gasped as they ran. Why would they do this? Remove rivals, destabilize the Concordat, seize power in the chaos, Marcus said without slowing. Classic military coup tactics. They reached the diplomatic wing. Bodies lay in the corridor security personnel, cut down before they could respond. The Zephyli minister vomited. The young Dex attached was crying. Marcus moved among the bodies, quickly checking them. He took a plasma pistol from one guard, checked its charge, and tucked it into his belt. Then he grabbed the combat knife. Syrah stared. "Marcus, not now." He led them into a large conference room. "Barricade the door. Use furniture, anything heavy." While the others followed his orders, Marcus moved to the windows. He looked out, assessing. "We're 3 levels up. Can't escape that way. One entrance to defend." He turned to the group. "How many of you have combat training?" Silence. These were diplomats, scholars, traders, not soldiers. "Right," Marcus said. "Then you follow my orders exactly, or we all die. Clear?" They nodded, too frightened to argue. Over the next hour, Marcus transformed the conference room into a defensive position. He positioned furniture to create cover, identified sightlines, and set up a choke point at the door. He spoke calmly, giving clear instructions, keeping everyone focused. Syrah watched him work and felt ice in her veins. This wasn't a diplomat playing at security. This was a soldier, experienced and efficient. "You've done this before?" she said quietly. Marcus glanced at her. "Yes, you were never just a cultural liaison." "No." More explosions echoed through the station. Screams and plasma fire. The massacre continued beyond their walls. Then they heard footsteps in the corridor. Heavy, armored boots. Many of them. Marcus raised the plasma pistol, positioned himself at the door. "Everyone stay behind cover. Don't move unless I say." The door exploded inward. 3 Kryn soldiers rushed in, weapons raised. Marcus fired twice. Both shots hit perfectly joints in the armor, where it was weakest. 2 Kryn fell. The third raised its weapon toward Marcus. Marcus moved. He was beside the Kryn before it could fire, knife in hand. The blade found the seam in the helmet. The Kryn collapsed. It happened in seconds. Brutal, efficient, deadly. The other humans in the room stared in shock. The Zephyli minister whispered a prayer. Syrah couldn't breathe. She had just watched her husband kill 3 beings with the precision of a machine. "More will come," Marcus said, his voice steady. "They know we're here now." He was right. 5 minutes later, another squad tried to breach. Marcus killed 2 before they retreated. Then another attempt. And another. Each time, Marcus defended the door. Each time, he was efficient, brutal, and utterly calm. He moved like death itself, protecting them all. Between attacks. He checked on the civilians, offered water, kept them calm. Then the moment enemies appeared, he transformed again into something terrifying. Sarah's image of her husband shattered and reformed with each passing moment. Who was this man? What had he been before? The 4th assault was larger. 8 Kryn soldiers, coordinated and prepared. They threw in stun grenades first. The blast knocked everyone down. Through blurred vision, Syrah saw Marcus roll to his feet. His ears must have been ringing, but he moved anyway. He fired the plasma pistol until it died, then grabbed a Kryn weapon from a fallen enemy. The fight was savage. Marcus killed 3 more Kryn, but 1 got past him. Advancing on the cowering diplomats. Syrah saw the Kryn raise its weapon toward the young Dex attach. Without thinking, she threw herself in front of the girl. The plasma bolt never came. Marcus was there, driving his knife into the Kryn's back. The soldier fell. Marcus pulled Syrah to her feet, his hands checking her for injuries. "Are you hurt?" "No, stay behind cover." He pushed her back, turning to face the remaining Kryn. The last 3 soldiers fell back. Regrouping in the corridor. In the brief silence, Marcus reloaded the Kryn weapon. His hands were steady, but Syrah saw blood on his shoulder. "He'd been hit. Marcus, you're wounded." "It's shallow." "I'm fine. You're bleeding." "I said I'm fine." His voice was sharp, commanding. Then he softened. "I'm sorry, but we're not done yet. They'll bring more. Heavier weapons. Who are you?" Sierra whispered. "Really?" Marcus looked at her, and for a moment, the cold soldier's mask cracked. She saw pain there, regret, and something like shame. "I'm someone who's very good at killing," he said quietly. "Someone Earth sent when they needed the best. I'm sorry you had to see this, Sierra. I'm so sorry." Before she could respond, the corridor filled with more footsteps. Many more. Marcus turned back to the door, weapon raised. His jaw set with determination. And Sarah realized with absolute clarity her husband was going to die protecting them. This gentleman who quoted poetry and spoke 5 languages, who had nightmares about his past, he was going to stand at that door and fight until they killed him, unless something changed. She stood, moving beside him. "Sarah, get back." "No, I'm staying with you." Marcus started to argue. But the Kryn appeared in the doorway. Not a small squad this time. A full assault team. Leading them was a massive Kryn warrior, larger than the others, wearing commander's markings. Marcus recognized him. She saw it in his eyes. "Warlord Dexmore," Marcus said. The Kryn leader's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter. "The ghost of Proxima. They said you were dead. They said you were broken, sent away in shame." "People say lots of things," Marcus replied. "You killed 70 of my brewkin at the Proxima colony. Today, I will return the favor." Marcus's hand tightened on his weapon. "Sierra, take the others and run when I engage him." "That's an order." "Mavi Ghost of Proxima." The name echoed in Sarah's mind as she watched Marcus face the Kryn warlord. She had heard whispers of that name. A human soldier who had done something terrible during the Proxima border conflict, years before the Concordat. A warrior so effective that even the Kryn feared him. But the ghost was supposed to be a myth, a scary story told by enemies. Except he was standing right in front of her, wearing her husband's face. Dexmore swung his massive blade. Marcus dodged, not trying to block. The Kryn's strength would shatter any defense. Instead, he moved like water, letting the blade pass inches from his body. Marcus fired the plasma rifle point blank. The shot hit Dexmore's armor, scorching it but not penetrating. The warlord was too well protected. "Still fast, Ghost," Dexmore clicked. "But you've grown soft. Playing diplomat, marrying, pretending to be civilized." Marcus said nothing. He circled, eyes calculating. Sarah recognized that look now. He was analyzing, planning, looking for weaknesses. Behind the warlord, more Kryn soldiers filled the corridor. But they held back. This was their leader's kill. They would honor his fight. Marcus dropped the empty rifle and drew his knife. Against a Kryn warlord's armor and blade, it looked like a toy. "You can't win," Dexmore said. "You know this. Why not die with dignity?" "Because," Marcus said quietly, "I'm not ready to die yet." He attacked. Not with the desperate fury Sarah expected, but with precise, calculated movements. He went low, targeting joints. He used the conference room furniture as obstacles, forcing Dexmore to navigate around tables and chairs, limiting the big warrior's advantage. Each time Dexmore swung, Marcus was somewhere else. Each time Marcus struck, his knife found gaps in the armor, not enough to kill, but enough to wound, to wear down. Sarah suddenly understood. Marcus couldn't overpower the warlord, but he could outthink him. The fight moved across the room. Dexmore grew frustrated, swinging harder, faster. His blade shattered a table, destroyed a wall panel. Marcus stayed just ahead, bleeding from a dozen minor cuts, but still moving. "Stand and fight," Dexmore roared. "No," Marcus said, and Sarah heard something cold in his voice. "You want the ghost?" I'll show you the ghost. What happened next would stay with Sarah forever. Marcus stopped running. He turned, facing the warlord fully. And something changed in his posture, his breathing, his eyes. The diplomat vanished completely. What remained was pure predator. He moved first. Fast, so fast Sarah barely saw it. He ducked under Dexmoor's guard, knife flashing. Not at the armor, but at the weapon systems. One cut severed the power line to the warlord's plasma cannon. Another sliced through a targeting sensor. Dexmoor backhanded him. Marcus flew across the room, hitting the wall hard. The watching Kryn soldiers chittered, anticipating their leader's victory. Marcus stood up, slowly. Blood ran from his mouth. His shoulder was definitely broken now, but his eyes never left Dexmoor. Proxima, Marcus said, his voice carrying across the room. You want to know what really happened there? Dexmoor paused. Your broodkin attacked a civilian colony. 4,000 humans, Velkari and Zephae. Families, children. They were evacuating when your forces arrived. Marcus limped forward. I was stationed there with 12 other soldiers. We were supposed to delay you long enough for the civilians to escape. You slaughtered my kin. Dexmoor snarled. Yes. Marcus's voice was flat, empty. I did. Because if I hadn't, you would have slaughtered 4,000 civilians. So I set traps. I used the terrain. I picked you off one by one, leading you away from the evacuation ships. 70 Kryn warriors hunting one human through the mountains. He was closer now, still advancing despite his injuries. It took me 3 days. I didn't sleep, barely ate, just kept moving, kept killing. And when it was over, when the last transport jumped to safety, I looked at what I'd done. At the bodies, at the blood, and I broke. Sarah's heart ached. She saw the pain in Marcus's face, the weight of those memories. They decorated me, Marcus continued. Called me a hero. The ghost of Proxima, who saved thousands. But all I could see were the 70 beings I'd killed. Even if they were enemies. Even if it was necessary. It destroyed me. Dexmoor's blade wavered. Then why fight now? Why not let me kill you? And your guilt? Marcus smiled, and it was terrible. Because these people behind me, they're not soldiers. They're not warriors. They're what I was trying to protect at Proxima. And I'll be damned if I let you kill them. And now, Lydian, and I'll be damned if I let you kill them. He lunged. Not at Dexmoor, but at the wall panel behind him. Marcus ripped it open, exposing the station's power conduits. He slammed his knife into the junction. The lights exploded. Sparks showered the room. Emergency systems kicked in, bathing everything in red light. In that moment of chaos, Marcus moved. He grabbed a piece of broken table leg makeshift, crude, but weighted like a club. He swung it at Dexmoor's head with every ounce of strength he had left. The impact cracked the warlord's helmet. Dexmoor staggered. Marcus hit him again. And again. His broken shoulder screamed in pain, but he didn't stop. He was beyond pain now, operating on pure will. On the fourth strike, Dexmoor's helmet shattered. The warlord's head was exposed. Marcus dropped the club and dove for the fallen blade, Dexmoor's own massive weapon. He shouldn't have been able to lift it. It was designed for Kryn's strength, but Marcus lifted it anyway. Adrenaline, desperation, or something darker powered him. The Kryn soldiers in the corridor watched in stunned silence as this small human raised their warlord's blade. Marcus drove it down. Dexmoor fell. The great warlord of the Kryn, slayer of hundreds, fell before a broken diplomat with a knife and improvised weapons. The corridor was silent. Then one Kryn soldier raised his weapon. Marcus turned, ready to fight them all, but the soldier didn't fire. Instead, He tapped his blade against his armor, a cringe salute to a worthy opponent. The others followed. One by one, they saluted Dot, then they left. The warrior code. Marcus had defeated their leader in single combat. Honor demanded they withdraw. Marcus stood in the red emergency light, covered in blood his own and Dexmoor's. The massive blade fell from his hands with a clang. His legs gave out. Sarah ran to him, catching him before he hit the floor. "I've got you," she whispered. "I've got you." Marcus looked up at her. His eyes were haunted, empty. "I told you I was a weapon. Earth's weapon. They sent me because they knew. If things went wrong, they knew I could." He couldn't finish. "You saved us," Sarah said firmly. "You saved all of us. At what cost?" His voice broke. "I tried so hard to leave that person behind. To be better. To be the diplomat, the peaceful man. And one fight, one battle, and I'm the ghost again." Tears ran down Sarah's face too from each eye, the Volcari way. "You're not the ghost. You're Marcus. The man who quotes poetry. Who speaks my language. Who has nightmares because he cares about the lives he took. Sarah, a weapon doesn't feel guilt, Marcus. A weapon doesn't break from what it's done. You're not a weapon. You're a man who's had to do terrible things. There's a difference." Outside, they heard new sounds. Station security, finally responding. The attack was ending. Whatever Kryn forces remained were retreating or surrendering. The other diplomats emerged from their hiding spots. The young Bex attached approached cautiously. "Thank you," she whispered. "You saved my life." One by one, the others thanked them. The Zephali minister, the human economist, each one owing their lives to the man who'd stood at the door. Marcus barely heard them. He was fading, blood loss and exhaustion taking their toll. Medical teams arrived. They tried to take him, but Sarah held on. "I'm staying with him," she said. "Ambassador. We need to. I'm staying with him." Her voice carried all the authority of her position and all the fear of her hearts. They let her stay down as they carried Marcus to medical. Sarah held his hand. His blood stained her formal robes, but she didn't care. "Stay with me," she whispered. "Please, Marcus. Stay with me." His eyes found hers. 5 years, he murmured. "Contract. Damn the contract. I'm not losing you." She didn't know when it had happened. When the political arrangement had become real. When duty had transformed into something deeper. Maybe it was watching him fight for strangers. Maybe it was seeing his pain. Maybe it had been growing all along quietly beneath the surface of their careful distance. But she knew it now, absolutely. She loved this broken, deadly, gentle man. "Sarah," he whispered as the doctors worked on him. "I'm sorry you saw what I really am." She leaned close, her forehead touching his. "I saw exactly who you are. Someone willing to become a monster to protect others. Someone who hates what he's capable of, but does it anyway. Someone brave and broken and beautiful. I'm not beautiful. I'm covered in scars." "Then we match," Sarah said softly. "Because after today, so is my heart." His hand tightened on hers. "Don't leave." "Never," she promised. And as the medical teams rushed him away for surgery, Sarah stood in a corridor, still covered in his blood, and made a choice. The political marriage was over. What she wanted now was real. If Marcus survived, when he survived, she would tell him. No more contracts. No more duty. Just truth. She loved him. The diplomat and the ghost. The poet and the warrior. All of him. She just hoped she'd get the chance to say it. Marcus woke in the medical bay 2 days after the attack. His first sight was Sarah, asleep in the chair beside his bed. Her formal robes were gone, replaced by simple clothing. Dark circles shadowed all 4 of her eyes. He tried to sit up and immediately regretted it. Pain shot through his shoulder, his ribs, everywhere. Syrah's eyes opened instantly. Don't move. You have 3 broken ribs, a shattered shoulder. Internal bleeding they just repaired, and about 40 other injuries the doctors listed. I've had worse, Marcus said. His voice rough. That's not comforting. But relief flooded her face. She took his hand carefully, avoiding the 4 lines. You scared me. I'm sorry. Stop apologizing. You saved 17 people, Marcus. The diplomats in that room, and others you protected during the fight. Everyone survived because of you. Marcus looked away. And I killed how many Kryn? 15, according to security reports, including Warlord Dexmore. Syrah's voice was gentle. The Concordat is calling you a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm just... If you say you're just a weapon again, I'm going to hit your good shoulder. Syrah's tone was firm. You're a person who did what was necessary. There's a difference. Over the next week, as Marcus healed, the full story of the attack emerged. The Kryn Dominion's government claimed the assault was unauthorized, the action of a rogue military faction. Dexmore and his followers had planned to destabilize the Concordat. Seizing power in the chaos, their plan had failed. Largely because one human diplomat had held a single doorway, the Kryn Dominion was expelled from the Concordat. Trade sanctions followed. The galaxy's power balance shifted dramatically, and Marcus became famous. Recordings from security cameras showed the fight. Media across the Concordat played them. Endlessly, the human diplomat who fought like a warrior god. The Ghost of Proxima returns. One headline. Read, Earth's hidden weapon, claimed. Another. Marcus hated every second of it. They're making me into a legend again, he told Syrah one evening. A symbol. That's not who I want to be. Then tell them who you want to be. The Concordat Council called Marcus to testify. Syrah went with him, refusing to leave his side despite protocol suggesting she wait outside. The council chamber was massive, filled with representatives from every member species. Marcus stood before them, his arms still in a healing brace. The High Counselor, a Zephyli elder, spoke first. Captain Marcus Thorne. It's just Marcus Thorne, Marcus interrupted gently. I resigned my military commission years ago. The records show you were transferred to diplomatic service after the Proxima incident. But the details remain classified. Yes, Counselor. Why did Earth send a warrior to marry Ambassador Serathix? Was this planned? Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he said, Earth sent me because I was damaged goods. A soldier who couldn't soldier anymore. They thought diplomatic work might rehabilitate me, give me purpose without violence. The marriage was supposed to be safe, a political arrangement where I could do no harm. Yet you killed 15 Kryn warriors. Yes, Counselor. I did. Marcus's voice was steady. Because they were murdering civilians. Because I was the only one there who could stop them. Because sometimes doing the right thing means becoming the monster. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Do you regret your actions? Another counselor asked. Marcus looked at Syrah. She nodded, encouraging. I regret that violence was necessary, Marcus said. I regret every life I've ever taken, enemy or not. I carry those deaths with me every day. But do I regret protecting innocent people? Never. The questioning continued for hours. Marcus answered everything honestly, his history at Proxima, his breakdown afterward, Earth's decision to repurpose him as a diplomat. Finally, the High Counselor spoke. Marcus Thorne, this council recognizes your actions saved many lives. We also recognize that you are not simply a diplomat. The question is, what are you? Marcus stood straighter, despite the pain. I'm someone trying to be better than my worst moment. I'm someone who believes in peace, but understands the cost of protecting it. I'm someone who doesn't want to fight, but will if I must. And I'm someone who's tired of hiding what I am, which is a man who's seen too much war and wants desperately to build peace. Both things. At the same time, the council deliberated for 3 days. During that time, Marcus and Sierra returned to their quarters. The space felt different, now smaller, more intimate. What happens now? Marcus asked. They sat together on the couch, Sierra's head resting on his good shoulder. The council will decide your fate. Maybe they'll accept you. Maybe they'll ask Earth to recall you. And us? Marcus's voice was quiet. The contract has 2 years left. But after everything, I wouldn't blame you if... Marcus. He looked at her. I love you, Sarah said simply. I think I've loved you for months, but I was too stubborn to admit it. Watching you nearly die made me realize I don't want this to be a contract. I want it to be real. Marcus stared at her, shock clear on his face. Sierra, you saw what I am. What I can do. I saw a man protect people he barely knew. I saw a man fight a warlord with broken bones and sheer determination. I saw a man who'd rather die than let innocents be hurt. She took his hand. I saw you, Marcus. All of you. The poet and the warrior. And I love all of it. Tears ran down Marcus's face, something Sierra had never seen before. I don't deserve. Stop. You deserve happiness. You deserve peace. You deserve love. Sierra cupped his face with her hands. Let me give you those things, please. Marcus kissed her. Gentle, careful, full of emotions too big for words. When they finally pulled apart, Marcus whispered, I love you too. I have for so long. I just didn't think I had the right. You have the right. You've always had the right. The council's decision came on the 4th day. They summoned Marcus and Sarah together. The High Counselor stood. Marcus Thorne, this council has decided to create a new position, Security Liaison. You will work with diplomatic teams across the Concordat, advising on security matters and protecting representatives in dangerous situations. Marcus blinked. You want me to keep doing this? We want you to do what you do best, keep people safe, but with official authority and resources. The counselor's expression softened. The galaxy needs both diplomacy and protection, Marcus Thorne. You've proven you can provide both. And my past? Your classified history will remain sealed. But your actions at Nexus 7 will be commended. You are hereby recognized as a guardian of the Concordat. A title, an honor, and a purpose. Marcus looked at Sierra. She smiled, all 4 eyes bright with pride. I accept, Marcus said. Thank you, Counselor. 6 months passed. Marcus and Sierra moved into larger quarters, designed for a real couple rather than a political arrangement. They dissolved the marriage contract and got married again, this time for love, not politics. The ceremony was small, just close friends and family. Marcus's sister attended via hologram from Earth, crying happy tears. Sierra's parents came from Volcara, skeptical at first, but warming when they saw how Marcus looked at their daughter. Marcus still had nightmares. Some nights, Sierra woke to find him sitting by the window, staring at the stars. But she would join him, offering silent comfort, and slowly the haunted look would fade. They worked together now. Sierra negotiated treaties while Marcus assessed security. They traveled to border worlds, hosted diplomatic functions, and slowly built something new, a partnership that was both professional and personal. One evening, they were in their quarters. Sierra was reading reports. Marcus was practicing Volcari frost singing, a meditative art she taught him. You're getting better, Sierra observed. I have a good teacher. Flatterer. But she smiled. Marcus set aside the practice crystal and moved to where she sat. He pulled her close, and she settled against him, perfectly comfortable. Do you regret it? he asked quietly. Choosing this? Choosing me? Sierra looked up at him. Never? Do you? Every day I wake up next to you, I think I'm dreaming. Something this good doesn't happen to people like me. People like you? Broken soldiers trying to be better. Sierra turned in his arms, facing him fully. You're not broken, Marcus. You're scarred. There's a difference. Scars mean you survived. Scars mean you healed. And scars can be beautiful. She traced the scar on his shoulder from Dexmoor's blade, now healed but permanent. This one, she said softly, saved my life. This one protected 17 people. This one shows the world that you're willing to bleed for what's right. Marcus caught her hand, kissing her palm. How did I get so lucky? You married a stubborn Valkyrie diplomat who refused to let you hide behind walls anymore. He laughed a real laugh, free and genuine. Best decision Earth ever made, sending me to marry you. Best decision I ever made. Falling in love with you. They sat together as the station orbited through space. Two beings from different worlds who had found home in each other. Outside, the galaxy continued its complicated dance of politics and power. Treaties were signed and broken. Alliances shifted. The work of peace was never done. But in their quarters, Sierra and Marcus had found their own peace. A warrior and a diplomat. A human and a Valkyrie. A marriage that began as duty and transformed into love. Marcus still fought when necessary. His reputation as the ghost of Proxima followed him. But now he fought for something more than duty. He fought for the future he and Sierra were building together. And Sierra learned that strength came in many forms. Sometimes it was patient negotiation.